G'day YouTube, welcome to another episode of the Friday Vape Club. As always, your host Squidly back for another review for you. Today we are looking at the Vandy Vape Kylin Mesh RTA. So Vandy Vape have made a mesh RTA sort of in line with that Unity, the profile Unity. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive down, we're going to take a quick look around it. I'll chuck a mesh build in here for you. I'm not going to use the Vandy Vape mesh, I'm going to use the OF RF mesh because it's pretty much a superior mesh. And then we'll jump back up here, we'll do the pros, cons and all that other jazz. So stick around, watch the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and do not forget to smash that like button. Let's get into this. Here we have a closer look at the Kylin Mesh RTA. So it is 24 millimeters in diameter. It is made of a stainless steel construction. Let's take a look around it, shall we? Up the top here, you do have an 810 friction fit drip tip. Pop it out, O-ring on the inside there, so you can fit your custom drip tips in here. You've got a nice little bit of knurling around the top. And this is to grab hold of so you can undo the top and fill up your tank section. Once you open it up, you can see you've got a pretty decent juice well up the top here, and there's your kidney shaped holes to fill your juice ports, so to speak. And that down there is your chimney to the mesh. Nice and clean on the inside. You've got an O-ring up here to make a nice seal. And the threading on this is really, really smooth. You can hardly hear it at all. Here you've got the airflow, which is a top airflow. So this is a top airflow RTA. You've got that honeycomb style airflow that Vandy Vape love to do so much. And it is adjustable, it just takes a little bit of movement. There is some nice restrictiveness to it. It's a little bit difficult to move here and there, but you know that once it's moved and in place, it's not going to move or change in your pocket. You can shut off the airflow sort of horizontally as opposed to, you know, vertical closing off the holes. And what happens on one side obviously changes on the other. Then you have got your glass section. So it comes with a 3mm glass section, which is the straight glass, and that's pre-installed. It does also come with a bubble glass, and that will increase that capacity to about 4.5 mils. You got your chimney section here, and you can see you've got some wick ports down the bottom, and then underneath you've got the Kylin, all the other bullshit that you would expect, and you do have a 24 karat gold plated center pin. Let's look around the outside. Let's take a look at the deck, shall we? So this is a look inside that top cap section. You can see your airflow slots. So that's where your airflow is going to come down and then hit the top of your mesh and then come out through the chimney section right here. Really domed on the inside. So you're going to maximize as much flavor as possible. And then you can see you've got your juice flow controls right there. All right, but let's take a look at the deck. So this is the deck for the Kylin, and you would be forgiven if you mistook this deck for the Profile Unity deck because it is pretty much exactly the same. You've got your ceramic spring-loaded section in the middle, which is going to push the cotton up against your mesh. So you've got some Phillips head screws on here, and this will loosen up the clamps so you can then drop your mesh in. And then you've got these massive big cotton channels. And you build this thing exactly the same way that you would build your Profile Unity. So that's a look at the deck. Let's take a look at the packaging. So here we have a closer look at the Kylin Mesh RTA packaging by Vandy Vape. You get a nice picture on the front of your Kylin. On the back, you get the usual back of box shit. And it does give you a little pictorial representation of how you should build this and how you should cut your cotton. Let's take a look inside. Okay, so inside here, this is where your Kylin mesh will be sitting. There's a whole load of stuff in here, so let's go through it. You do receive your 4.5mm bubble glass section. You do receive 2 pieces of the A1M coil, which will ohm out to around about the 0.2. That's what it looks like. You do receive 2 pieces of the A1M coil, which is 0.15. I don't know why they didn't call it something different. There you go. But that's what that looks like. You do receive a certificate, a quality certificate. You do get a bag of spares, including a screwdriver, grub screws, you get spare springs, this little bit of metal here. So this piece of metal here, this is to wrap your mesh around, so it's the perfect circumference to fit into your clamps. You do receive a Kylin user manual. And you do receive some Vandy Vape cotton. The Vandy Vape Kylin RTA, let's chuck a build in it and then we'll jump back up top, do pros, cons, price, and if I would recommend this or not. Then we had a quick look around the Vandy Vape Kylin mesh. Like we often do, we are going to take it for a fucking toot. I have got the OFRF mesh in here, got one of my favorite juices from Hunting Clouds, sitting on top of the Vandy Vape Jackaroo. Love this little thing, single 21700. It's at 50 watts if you fucking care. Don't think that you do. Let's fucking go. All right, so we often talk about flavor, cloud production, airflow.
Flavor, cloud production, airflow.
So let's talk about the airflow first. The honeycomb style airflow on the Vandy Vape Kylin is really good. Being a top airflow, it's still wide open. I found sometimes you get like a little bit of restriction with the top airflow because it's got to, come down through so many parts and then sort of hit that chamber and then come up. It can create a little bit of a restriction, but this is nice and wide open and just super smooth.
Smooth as a shaved pussy.
They really nailed the airflow with this. Let's talk about flavor for a second, okay? So I found that mesh can produce some pretty good flavor, and the profile unity from an RTA point of view was absolutely sensational. The flavor of that thing was great. I love my profile unity. I think that the Vandy Vape has sort of missed the mark. It's just not quite there compared to the profile when I'm talking about flavor. Out of if I have to rate like out of 10, I would say this is probably about a 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. And the profile unity was probably about like an 8.5, 9 out of 10. So just misses the mark flavor wise. And cloud production, as you saw, some awesome clouds. All right, let's get into the pros and cons.
Pros.
So pros for this thing. So let's just take the first pro. I think it looks absolutely sensational. This is a gorgeous looking RTA. When you compare this to the profile unity, this wins hands down just upon looks. Other pros for this, I like the top fill system. The threads on this thing and the knurling, just super smooth. For a mass-produced Chinese product, Vandy Vape, are making some sensational shit. Great airflow, super smooth, buttery smooth airflow. It's awesome. The tanks, so you can get, you can hold 4 mils or 4.5 mils. That's awesome. And then you get to the deck. The deck is really easy to install coils, but the deck has one massive con, and I'll talk about that in the cons. 24mm, fits on everything. Looks the tits on this Jackaroo. This combination was just fucking made for each other. So yeah, it's got a lot of pros going for it, but there are some cons. Let's talk about those cons.
Cons.
So the one con is it just lacks a little bit in flavor compared to that Profile Unity. So that's a huge con for me, especially when they have taken the deck of the Profile Unity. And that's another massive con for me. It is literally the Profile Unity deck. Vandy Vape have blatantly fucking ripped that off. Absolutely so.
Stolen.
You got the clamp system, you got the ceramic center that is on a spring. It's just a fucking blatant ripoff, honestly. They should have called it the Vandy Vape Profile. It's just that much of a ripoff. And another con for me is the juice flow control. I think those e-liquid holes cut out into the chimney section should be a lot bigger. And I don't know whether that's why I'm not getting enough flavors, because I'm not getting enough airflow and enough liquid. I'm definitely not getting any dry hits or burnt hits. So it's telling me there is enough liquid coming through, but with all of that cotton that you stuff into that mesh, I think you need a lot more e-liquid actually getting soaked up by that cotton. And I just don't think those e-liquid holes are going to cut it. So there, the Vandy Vape Mesh Kylin has a couple of cons to it. Let's get into the price.
Price.
What is the Vandy Vape Kylin going to set you back? Well, doing a little bit of Google foo around the internet, I found it in the US for $40, and here in Australia, you can pick it up for around about that $55 mark. So that's a pretty decent little price. So would I recommend this? If you're after a mesh RTA, go and buy the Unity. If you've tried the Unity and you don't like it, then maybe try the Vandy Vape Kylin. But I think overall as a mesh RTA, it works really well, and there's some really great positives for it. Would I recommend it? If I had to choose between the Profile Unity and the Vandy Vape Kylin, I would go for the Profile Unity. They both have their cons, but I think that one, the Profile just is a little bit better. So yeah, that's all I've got for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed it. Like always, please like, please share, please subscribe, and remember YouTube, red hair, smelly cunt, no friends, no future. Keep it cloudy.
A Got a Slut production.